Ben.
All right, Susan, thank you very much. And that is all from the BBC News One. So it's goodbye from me, and on BBC One now, we'll join the BBC's news teams where you are. Have a very good afternoon.
Hello and welcome to the programme. I'm Jennifer Jones. The headlines this lunchtime. Support from campaigners and celebrities for Raheem Bailey, who lost a finger after reportedly fleeing bullies who racially abused him. And Mariana and Roman had to leave their dogs in quarantine, while refugees in Wales are separated from their pets. Good afternoon, Prynhawn Daichi. A school in Abertillery is closed today after an 11-year-old boy lost a finger in what his mother says was a racially motivated incident. Abertillery Learning Community says it's helping police and the council to investigate. Raheem Bailey's mother says he injured himself while running away from bullies who racially abused him. Our reporter Nellie Bird is outside the school for us this lunchtime. And Nellie, what more can you tell us? OK, Nellie in Abertillery, thank you very much. 3 incidents are being investigated which could have caused serious harm or death to hospital patients in North Wales. A recent report into Betsy Cadwaladr University Health Board reveals 2 of the cases are described as wrong site surgery, and the third relates to a swab being left inside a patient. The board says a range of immediate safety measures have been implemented. A teenager who was part of a gang who robbed and killed a father from Newport for his designer bag has been sentenced to 8 years in prison. 19-year-old Ethan Strickland from Cardiff was convicted earlier this year of robbing Ryan O'Connor as he walked home last June. 2 other members of the gang were found guilty of stabbing Mr. O'Connor to death. Nearly 10,000 people in Wales have been incorrectly told to get their spring booster COVID jab. The Welsh Government says the error means more people than intended have either received a vaccination, been invited, or are due to receive an invite for a vaccine. Anyone affected will be notified. Some Ukrainian families who've made it to Wales say not having their pets with them is making it even more difficult to deal with what's happened. Rules here mean pets have to isolate in quarantine for up to 4 months. But elsewhere in the UK, isolation can be done at home following health checks. Rhiannon Wilkins reports. Rhiannon Wilkins reporting there. Now, some rail services in Wales have been disrupted after a fire on a passenger train in Shropshire. Lines between Shrewsbury and Hereford were closed last night after the incident near Craven Arms railway station. Around 60 passengers were evacuated from the train. And a documentary about a Welsh sheep farmer from Ceredigion has beaten more than 7,000 other submissions to win a place at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York. Hart Valley follows a day in the life of 73-year-old Wilf Davis, who lives near Lampeter, and his devotion to his flock of 70 sheep. Well, let's get the forecast now. Derek, it's a bit raincoat on, raincoat off.
That sums it up quite nicely for this week, Jen. It is going to be cool and breezy at times, with a mixture of sunshine and showers. Some rain for a time on Wednesday, but later on in the week, signs of high pressure settling things down, warming up a bit as well. At the moment, doesn't look too bad for the weekend. Jen.
Derek, thank you. And that is Wales Today for this lunchtime. Nick Servini will have all the latest for you at 6:30 this evening. But until then, from all of us on the programme, have a good afternoon. Hwyl fawr. Bye-bye.
Rita.
Nick, thank you. And that's all from me. Now on BBC One, it's time for the news where you are. Bye-bye.
Hello, welcome to Wales Today. I'm Nick Servini. The headlines tonight: an outpouring of support for Raheem Bailey, the 11-year-old who lost his finger while reportedly running away from bullies who'd racially abused him.
The whole context, which is contributing to some children and young people from minority ethnic backgrounds feeling unsafe, feeling unheard, feeling that they can't speak out if they do experience racist bullying.
Here in Abertillery, the school has been closed today after concerns over threatening comments on social media.
Also tonight, police confirm a man has died after being bitten by a dog at a property in Wrexham. The exam halls are back in use for the first time in 3 years, but are some of the papers too hard after the pandemic?
These learners need every possible chance they can get. They haven't sat an exam for years, and their experiences of these exams have to be the very best.
Come on! From the mountains of Ceredigion to Manhattan, how a film about the solitary life of a sheep farmer is to be shown at a New York festival. Good evening. From equality campaigners to sports stars like Anthony Joshua, there's been a huge outpouring of support for Raheem Bailey, the 11-year-old boy who lost his finger while reportedly running away from bullies in Abertillery. As well as outrage, there's also been generosity with a fundraising campaign close to hitting £100,000. His mother says he suffered racial abuse. Let's go to Abertillery now and to our reporter, Nellie Bird. OK, Nellie, thanks very much indeed for that. Well, joining me now is Professor Uzo Iwobi, the Chief Executive of Race Council Cymru. Good evening. What's your reaction been to this story over the course of the weekend?
Absolute outrage, shock, horror, anger, because we know it happens literally every day. Children from Black, African and African Caribbean backgrounds, Asian, minority ethnic children, gypsies, travellers, ethnic minority people.
Uzo Iwobi, Chief Executive of Race Council Cymru. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Some breaking news this evening, and 5 children have been taken to hospital following a collision involving a bus and pedestrians near Welshpool. Jennifer Jones is in the newsroom with the latest. Jen, what do we know?
Well, the details are still coming in, Nick. We've only just heard about this incident a few minutes ago. What has been confirmed so far by Dyfed Powys Police, because there are road closures and there are diversions in place. OK, Jen, thanks for that update. A 62-year-old man has died after he was bitten by a dog in Wrexham. The Welsh Ambulance Service say the man had a cardiac arrest following the attack. The dog was put down by a vet at the scene. Matthew Richards is there for us tonight. Matthew. Exams are underway for A-level pupils as part of the first set of summer assessments in 3 years. After some pupils and teachers raised concerns about GCSE and AS papers sat last week, one union has said learners this year need to be given a positive experience of exams after all they've been through. But the exam board insists great care has been taken to make sure exams are fair. Our education and family correspondent Bethan Lewis reports. Still to come before 7. A rose to honour one of the very first black gardeners in Britain who grew up in Gwynedd has been planted at Buckingham Palace.
And we're in for a mixed bag of weather this week. Sunshine and showers tomorrow, cool and breezy. But will it warm up later in the week? Join me later to find out.
Ukrainian families in Wales have said settling has been harder because their pets cannot be with them. Under Welsh rules, many animals brought over have to be in quarantine centres for up to 4 months. Elsewhere in the UK, they can quarantine in homes after health checks. Rhiannon Wilkins reports. Rhiannon Wilkins there. A rose to honour one of the very first black gardeners in Britain has been planted at Buckingham Palace. It's named after an 18th century man taken from Africa as a child to be raised in North Wales. Our reporter George Hurd was invited to see the ceremony in the palace's garden. It's not often that the mountains of Ceredigion and Manhattan appear in the same sentence, but they do now thanks to a short documentary about a sheep farmer beating thousands of entries to be shown at a prestigious film festival in New York. The film follows a day in the solitary life of 73-year-old Wilf Davis, who follows an unbroken routine caring for his flock of 70 and even eating exactly the same meal every night. Here's Alid Schofield. Right, let's get the weather. Derek is here and it's pretty mixed out there, isn't it?
Yes, we are in for a mixed bag this week. Nick, you are right. Cool and breezy at times with a mixture of sunny spells and showers. Some rain to start Wednesday, but the end of the week does look more promising with high pressure on the way. More on that in a moment. First today, and we have had some grey, damp and misty conditions. Nick.
Derek, thank you. Before we go, a reminder of tonight's breaking story. 5 children are in hospital after being hit by a school bus near Welshpool. The school bus and a number of young pedestrians were involved in the crash, which happened this afternoon in Llanfair Caerenion. The male bus driver was also taken to hospital. Dyfed-Powys Police has not said how serious their injuries are. That is Wales Today. I'll be back after the 10 o'clock news. Hope you can join me then. Goodbye.
And that's it. Now on BBC One, it's time for the news where you are. Have a good night.
Hello, welcome to Wales Today. I'm Nick Servini. The headlines tonight. 3 children are airlifted to hospital after being hit by a school bus in Powys. And a 62-year-old man has died after being bitten by a dog in Wrexham. Good evening. A school bus has crashed into a group of children near Welshpool. 3 of them have been airlifted to hospital. 2 other children and the driver of the bus were also injured in the incident in the village of Llanfair Caerenion. At this stage, it is unclear how serious the injuries are. Craig Duggan has the latest. Craig Duggan reporting there near Welshpool. From sports stars like Anthony Joshua to equality campaigners, there's been a huge outpouring of support for Raheem Bailey, the 11-year-old boy who lost his finger while reportedly running away from bullies in Abertillery. As well as outrage, there's also been generosity with a fundraising campaign close to hitting £100,000. His mother, who says he suffered racial abuse, has spoken of the agony he went through as a result of the injury he suffered. Here's our reporter, Nellie Bird. A 62-year-old man has died after being bitten by a dog in Wrexham. He died of a cardiac arrest at the scene. The dog was put down while other dogs at the property have been removed. Matthew Richards has the latest. Right, let's get the weather forecast, and here's Derek Brockway with all the details.
Hello, Shemai. The weather's looking a bit mixed for May this week. Sunshine and showers, cool and breezy at times, but the end of the week looks drier and warmer thanks to high pressure. Good night.
That's your weather, and that is Wales Today. We'll be back in the morning from 6:25 as usual throughout breakfast. Until then, from all of us on the late team, thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Boxing is back